Please return Bubbles, your flight attendant, to her fully upright and locked position. Oh, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and buckle up. Seat backs and tray tables in their full upright position. It's another episode of Skip Happens. Your weekly view from 30,000 feet. From the first music lesson to the first paid gig to signing the deal, it's the journey that is the life of an artist. Now, here's your captain and co-captain, a.k.a. your hosts, Skip Clark and Deb Lamphere.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Hey, it's Skip Clark, the host of Skip Happens, Deb Lamphere from the Audience Company, and also the official country music fan club and my partner with the podcast. And you know what? I think I have a good one tonight. I think
We know.
We know. So I don't know if this is going to come up here because we were talking and I wasn't paying attention, but well, you know what? We'll talk about this in a little bit. I want to go back a little bit. First of all, I'm gonna show her this picture and see if that brings back any memories. Now you see that was at a place called the Turning Stone Casino.
Oh my goodness.
Corona, New York. So, and that was
I remember that.
Yeah, 20 years ago, Carolyn.
Wow.
20 years ago.
How?
You Carolyn Dawn Johnson is our guest here tonight, and this is so much fun. I'm loving this woman already, and I loved her back then as well. I was a big fan. Been doing the radio thing for a long time, able to play some of her music, and one of the big hits I remember very distinctively was Complicated. And I think when Complicated hit the radio waves, huge hit for you, and you went out on tour with that song, to kick it off. So that was pretty cool. Carolyn Dawn Johnson, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm all giddy tonight.
Welcome. I know. We're so excited.
I'm all giddy. But welcome to the Skip Happens podcast. Skip Happens. So it's just like it's going to be a discussion. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about you. Where are you right now? Are you in Nashville or are you in Canada?
I'm in Nashville and I'm in part of my living room right now.
I like the plants in the back. Are they real?
Thank you. They are real.
Yes. Okay.
I have a smidge of a green thumb.
Yeah, same with me. A smidge.
No. That doesn't work with me. And we cannot have live plants in our house because they do not survive. I'm just saying.
They help with the oxygen in your house. So, they do the breathing in and out of that stuff that we breathe out. They breathe it in and do whatever, So
can I ask you, what part of Nashville are you? You don't have to tell me exactly, but are you north of town, south, east, west?
I'm actually in Nashville proper. I'm in kind of the center. So I'm not really north, east, west, or south. I'm in the middle of it all. So I'm kind of close to everything. So
That's good. That's good. Makes
I'm
it easy.
I'm close to Music Row too. So I'm
nice.
Nice. That's where you need to be, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So, Carolyn, it's been I know 22 years.
Where did that time go?
I know. It's like, and I'm going to say something. I'm not being creepy here, but you haven't changed one bit. You look fabulous.
Yeah,
I have to wear a hat now. I have to
get to a woman's heart.
But no, you look great. And I've been asking to get you on the podcast for a little bit now, and it's because I've been seeing your Facebook lives, and when you'll just pop on and do something, you'll sing a couple of songs and talk to your fans, and I knew you were coming out with new music, and I just said, I can't wait. Now here it is. Roadblocks is out. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Roadblocks I haven't really had any new music out in a while. So Roadblocks is like my re-entry onto, the airwaves of sort and giving it to my fans. And it's really kind of like I've decided it's kind of like a personal anthem amidst my own personal struggles that I have had. So it's me going, hey, if you don't want to think about anything about this song, you don't have to, because it's one of those kind of songs you can just turn up and jam and crank it, roll the windows down, drive fast, whatever. It feels good. It's fun to sing along to. But if you've gone through some stuff or are going through some stuff, your own roadblocks per se.
Ooh.
Hopefully
Aren't
this
we
will
all?
kind of inspire you, you know?
And I did say that before we went out with
Mhm.
the lights and the cameras tonight. I said that, I'm digging this new tune, Roadblocks, because it's like, did you write that about me? How did you know? How did you know all this was happening? But you know what? You're a songwriter, and you're a
That's
damn good songwriter. And
Thank
you take your own experiences, you put them on paper, then you put them to music. And right there's
Yes.
a good example of it. I even wrote down some of the lyrics. I think it was like, I got my eye on the prize, unlimited skies. Oh, I'm going to drive right on through. Those take me out spikes. Oh, I'm going to
Yep.
drive. Those take me out spikes. Those slow me down signs. Oh, I'm going to drive right on through those roadblocks. That's
Ooh.
powerful.
Very
Thank you.
powerful.
Yeah. So
Thank you. Sometimes you need a little pick me up to
Mhm.
help you get through some things. And this is one of those. It's like, I've had days, I know I'm not alone, where it's literally hard sometimes to put one foot in front of the other. And that's what you have to do. And then you think about it, and hopefully a song like this will go, yeah, you know what? I can do this. I'm going through those. I still have my eye on the prize. I still, whatever that prize is for you, being the best version of yourself, you can do it.
what was it like? I mean, let's go back a little bit. 20 years, you had Complicated out there, and I think you had Georgia. Was it Georgia? I
Yes,
think you had
Georgia was one of those, and I don't want you to go. And
yes. And you had those songs, and then all of a sudden, what happened to Carolyn Dawn Johnson? I mean, is that a big for you as an artist? And I'm sure you were still trying to put some songs out, but then did you ever feel like, you know what, this isn't happening anymore? What am I going to do?
that's that hits me right in the heart there, Skip. So I had a lot of wonderful things going on, and there was some stuff that happened in the business part of the music, and it was kind of like the plug was just sort of pulled. And I was watching it kind of go away, and I couldn't do anything about it. And regimes change, and I don't know if regime's the right word, but
I know what you're talking about.
different people change in the organization, and certain things can happen. I just remember there was a bunch of radio going, when's Carolyn's next single? When's Carolyn's next single? Waiting, I had some great momentum. I had a lot of wonderful things happening. And something shifted somewhere in the business. That's kind of how I'll say it right now. And I watched all this hard work with me and my team kind of go down the drain. It didn't completely go down the drain. I was able to continue to still have a career, and I've still done a lot of amazing things, and I kept going. But there was a lot of things that happened that was absolutely devastating to me, if I'm being honest.
No, and I get that. That's why I was asking. And I know a lot of artists that have gone through pretty much what you've gone through. But how do you survive being an artist? What, you think that, man, I was great at what I did. Now I don't have it. How do you survive those moments? What do you do to get your mind off that, if I may ask?
Well, yep. Well, I found a great therapist. I know that sounds crazy, but I had to talk through a lot of stuff because I really felt it was hard to separate Carolyn from music. Music was always my life, but my identity was in that. So then when it felt like everything was going away, I was like, well, who am I? And so then I kind of had to be comfortable with me possibly never getting another shot ever again in my life. And that was a really difficult thing. So I did, since I was a teenager, I don't know how I got tipped off onto some of this stuff, but I really started reading positive thinking books and things like that, and doing some self affirmations and digging into trying to reframe things in your mind and your brain, basically. And I tell this to my kids all the time. If I hear something negative, and trust me, I can do the same things, but I'll go, hey kids, you know what comes out of your mouth goes in your ear and into your brain. So be careful what you say, because we're always kind of those things can change how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then it can change which direction you're going to go. Are you going to go in a better direction or a worse direction? Or you stay like normal, I guess, and just go like this, but rarely do you. It's kind of like,
it's hard. It's hard to teach kids to, especially when they see things that you're going through in your personal life and you have a career that you're trying to manage, and yet you have a family, and to teach children to, as they watch you grow and go through this, to stay in a lane. How challenging is that while balancing the rest of what you have going on? I mean, that is very difficult.
Such an inspiration right here. Carolyn Dawn Johnson hanging with us on the Scoop Happens podcast. And anybody that's going to be watching this, whether you're watching it live or maybe you're watching the replay of it, but it's so inspirational. And to know that I can look at you now and see that smile on your face, and you look, and
like it can be done.
It's proof that it can be done.
Yeah.
So now, on a brighter note, I know.
You know, when you said the word re-entry, all I could think of is when the people in space, you know, get into their little thing and they're re-entering back into Earth, and they're coming through with such power and excitement and energy because they've accomplished something that you just don't think you could accomplish. That's kind of the vibe I got from you. It's like, you are just ready now. You're coming through, and you're going to do it. And you know,
the re-entry.
I just love that. That's just the total vision.
Thank you so much. That's inspiring me, by the way, right now.
So we hope so. You know, I've been doing radio a long time. Ded's been doing country music a long time. So, you know, and we know who you are more than you think. So, which is, it means a lot to us, from somebody that gets to play it on the radio and somebody that gets to introduce it to the country music fan club. So anyways, so we had Martina McBride on with us. I don't know, it was a while ago now, but we had a great conversation. But what I understand, and I've heard this before, you and her have become pretty good friends because you've been hitting the road with Martina.
Yeah. You know what? She's so wonderful. She is a friend. She's a mentor. She's a hero. She's someone I look up to so greatly. I don't know if she told you how far back we go and just how it all happened, how it even started. But back when I got my record deal, I was slated to work with a guy named Paul Worley as a producer, and he produced her. And so he had come in and done demos with me and watched me work in the studio, and he got to know me. And so once I ended up getting my record deal, we already had this like kind of good understanding with each other and working relationship. And he liked the things that I did and my backgrounds and things like that. So moving forward, he calls me and asks me to come and sing, asks if I want to come sing on a Martina McBride record. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't even believe this because I'm up in Canada before I moved here. And I remember seeing her sing Independence Day on the CMAs and just going, who is this person?
I know.
And she, you know, I believe she was pregnant too, you know, and
oh my gosh.
She was just amazing. And I sang all of her songs and everything. So I was just honored. And I went in there and started singing on the song, I Love You, that really high one. I'm in so totally wrapped up. And I'm doing all the in so totally wrapped up. And she wasn't there when I first started. So I get about half the song done. And then she comes in. And she's like, wow, this sounds great. And she pushes the talk back button because I'm out singing. And she goes, do you want to come out on the road with me?
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
And she kind of says it sort of jokingly, laughingly. But I kind of look and Paul goes, I already told her we're getting ready to start your record. And she's too late. And, you know, whatever. And I'm like going, no, wait, I want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But
I'll find a way.
It kind of was just a joke. So I was like, okay, well, that's sweet. They're trying to give me a nice compliment.
Right.
So we finished the song. She's happy with it. It turns out great. I mean, it's not mixed yet, but a couple weeks later, Paul ends up calling me and says, you know, Martina's actually serious about you coming out with her. And she said, you know, you could work around our studio schedule and stuff. So why don't you just give her a call and just see? And so I called her and she said, I know you're making a record. I know you're about to launch. It'll take a while for this to happen anyway. But if you want to come out, I can show you what it's like to be on the road, and you can see what the real deal is like. And just very wonderful. She's like, if you can't come certain weekends, that's okay. I don't have a female backup singer anyway. Just come and do what you can do. So I went to my label Arista Management and said, hey, this is an opportunity. I'd really love to do this. Could I do this? And they were all like, yeah, this is an amazing opportunity. So that started 24 years ago, you guys.
Wow.
Wow.
24 years ago.
That was even before Complicated.
That was before Complicated.
Yes. Okay.
And through that relationship, she did teach me so much, and she was so kind, and she still is. I've come in and out of that organization, at different times, and I ask her advice on almost everything that I do.
Wow.
Well,
I mean,
that's such a compliment to her and a compliment to you to want to take that.
She's done it all.
Yeah.
She's done it all. And she's married to John, who's done it all from the other side, other side of the board. And he's at every single show. And I'm sure he's telling her, you got to get Carolyn to go with you just because he knows too. So
he's sweet too, because he's always like, we love it when you're out here with us. It's a positive thing. And I love it. It's literally like hanging out with your family and getting to sing with one of your best friends who happens to be one of the best singers in the world. So I don't ever want that to go away. And I don't think it ever will.
No.
Because I just think that we kind of come in and out of each other's lives, musically at times. Sometimes she's doing something else. Like, I'm not going to be on the Christmas tour. I don't do that with her, but I'll do different things. And,
sure.
And so it just works. It's amazing. I'm very, very blessed by that.
All right. So I bet I've done something you haven't done with Martina. Now you get to go out on tour with her. I've never done that, obviously. I don't know why I would. They don't need a radio guy hanging out. But I've had martinis at Martina's house.
Oh.
And
I've not had martinis at Martina's house.
I told you. We did actually. It was a, the country radio seminar many, many years ago. Martina was doing something at the house. Obviously, it was catered, but she was there. John was there. The kids were there. And it was called Martinis at Martina's.
That's amazing.
And we got to hang out around the pool and just kind of drink martinis and talk about life. And then John.
They make good martinis and good margaritas. And she's a great cook and all the things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And John took us down in the basement to show us all his Beatle collection, which is he's probably the biggest Beatle fan that I've ever known. So,
me too.
There you go.
They're amazing. They're a good couple.
So here we are with Carolyn Dawn Johnson, and that's the Martina side. What about the Judds, though? I was reading that you were on that farewell tour.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's because of Martina. So,
all right, so it goes to
I was singing with her. I said, hey, if you want me to do this Judds tour with you, count me in. And so we went out and did that. And here's a little story about that. You probably saw this, but I'll tell your audience this.
Okay.
36 years ago, I sang.
Was way before Complicated. Go ahead.
Way before Complicated. I was a little teenager.
Okay.
And I loved the Judds. So I've sang Grandpa, I don't know how many times, and Mama He's Crazy at weddings and showers. And then I also sang Why Not Me in this contest with a friend of mine, a kind of local contest that ended up sending us to the Calgary Stampede, which we didn't win there. But there's a little newspaper article of me and my friends sitting there, and it's talking about us singing Why Not Me. Well, I had posted about that. I love the Judds. Of course, we were all devastated when we lost Naomi after the tour had been announced. Just wow, like
really
so sad. And but the tour went on, and Winona, she pivoted in that moment and brought out guests every weekend to sing Naomi's parts, and it was a beautiful healing tour. Like I don't think we could have imagined it to be that, and I don't know if she knew it was going to be that. She got stronger as the days went on, but it was really tough in the beginning. However, at the very end of this tour, and by the way, Martina and the band and I, we watched every night because Wynona's like a force of nature.
Yep.
Her vocals are just unbelievable. She's just such an amazing artist. So every night. And then the last night, Martina texted me and said, come over by the stage, make sure you're over here. And this was a couple songs before the very end. And I went over there and it seemed a little sus. I wasn't sure what was going on. And then they brought me over my ears and stuff. And she said, you're coming out with us for the last song of the tour.
Aww.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was very emotional. And I knew I had to keep it together. And I went out there and it was Tanya Tucker,
Oh man,
Randy Carlisle, Martina, and Wynona. Martina held my hand walking out there. I mean, her heart is giant. Martina has a giant heart for that tiny little body. This heart.
yeah. Oh, I believe it.
And she brings me out there, and Wynona looks at me and gives me this side eye and is like, "You want the first verse?"
I am getting goosebumps hearing these stories.
Oh
so
my
I sang
god!
out there. That was like a full circle dream of mine. You know what I mean?
How do you even hold it together? Like first you're being asked and told and honored and all that to go on the stage, and then you get on the stage. I it's like you're in awe. Yet you want to perform and you want to do your best and you want to be part of it, yet you're in awe. Like I don't know if I would think to perform or fall over because I'm so honored.
I'd be bald.
Well,
to be honest with you.
Yeah. It is hard. I will say it was hard. I mean, my heart was pounding and I couldn't hear myself very well. So I ended up having, because we didn't get to check the ears and they were generic ones, like my ear monitors. They weren't mine that I'm used to using because this was all kind of like a surprise. So they, I put them in there. I didn't have time to even say, turn me up. I was on the first verse, so I didn't get to check anything. It was like full speed ahead, just go. And so that's when your years of experience come into play and your muscle memory goes, just go, Carolyn. Like you got to do the thing.
Yep.
And so you do it. And, but after that hall was over, no exaggeration, I went outside by myself and I had a couple tears.
Yes, absolutely.
I was like, what just happened? Because I think what happens is, and I've been doing this a long time. This is my career. This is what I do. I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter. I'm a singer. I do a lot of different things. But still sometimes that little girl in me goes, I remember when this was way over there.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know if that could ever be
reached. Yep. I was just going to say that. You think about that when you're younger. Will I ever really get there? How will I get there? How long will it take to even start to get there? And now here you are over there. It's just so
amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
It really is. So you just never know.
Right. And that's where you got to tell people, just keep following your dreams. You have to go after it.
Yeah. I'm sitting here watching and listening, and I'm just like in awe that you're such a pro. You've been doing this for a while. You've been asked to be out on these big tours, and just to see here again, I'm seeing the smile on your face, the passion, the dedication, even after all these years that you've been doing music, that I still see that in you, that there's no stopping you. There is no, and how it touches you and how it affects you, and you want more. You're like, bring it on. I want more.
A lot of passion.
A lot of passion. And I appreciate that. And it's good to see out of an artist too. A lot of passion.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's talk about, the CCMAs. Did you perform at the last one, or you did?
I did.
Right? Yeah.
I did. So the CCMAs, I hadn't been on the show for maybe 3 years or something like that. 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. And I wasn't slated to be on the show. And then my friend Brad Rempel from the band High Valley, he asked me to sing with him. I was going to be up there. I was going to be on the Legend show with Tennille Towns. And so I was going to be up there, and I don't know if he knew that or not. I think he did. but he called me and he asked if I would sing this duet with him. Now, he originally did it with Alison Krauss, and it's a phenomenal song.
Mm.
And I love the song. And I was like, he's like, you don't have to tell me right now if you need to figure it out or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. Yes. Because I love those guys, and Brad, I've known him a long time, and I knew the song already just because I was so happy for him when he and Allison did that together. And so I said yes. So yes, I was on the show, which was really fun. We had a great time rehearsing, got to walk the catwalk and do all
There
the
you
things,
go.
and sing for everybody. And, there was just a lot of joy that night once again. And I had a blast singing for everybody. So it was good to be there.
So they have the red carpet, right? Just like we do here in the States. And
they do.
That's one thing, being who I am in radio and been doing this a long time. One of my dreams that's on my bucket list is to work that red carpet sometime.
Well,
so
I want to talk
Dawn
to you
Johnson,
after you do it.
Yeah.
Because
and yes, we'll talk about that, but maybe some people that know some people that know some people that can Skip Clark.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, enough of that. No,
okay.
It's like on my bucket list. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I think it'll happen then.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about Roadblocks. Now, you've just dropped that. That is the new song, and I'm definitely going to attach it to the end of this podcast here. So when people go on to watch it, they can hear at least a clip of it. And but what else is coming from you? A whole album? You've got an album, right? Okay.
A whole album is coming. So the title of the album, the working title right now, which I'm pretty sure it's 99.9% it's going to be this, because I wrote this song a few years ago. It's okay. It's not really a secret.
Okay.
But if it changes, it'll be something else. But I don't think it's going to change.
All right.
But it's the title of the song is There She Is. So that's what I'm going to call the album. And it's, a bunch of stories and things. And some of them are old songs that I've been waiting to record for a long time. A few of them are new. And it's just, after Roadblocks, going through a bunch of stuff and deciding like, hey, it is time for me to make some music. I was talking to a friend of mine, and now I'm talking about a different song. I'm not talking about Roadblocks, but There She Is. We were sitting there talking, and I was telling him just some of the things that I had been going through and how hard it had been. And I said, and I just kind of felt like I was never going to be me again. Like, you just kind of feel like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. Can I let my dog out?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
She is making a lot of noise and clawing at the door. Hang on 1 second.
I made that mistake by not letting my dog out this morning. I'm just telling you.
You did?
Yes. And it didn't turn out pretty.
I'm sure it did not.
It did not. And I need to listen to the dog when the dog tells me she's got to go out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like she's sitting here looking at me going.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the song, it's not a depressing song. It's actually an uplifting song. However, it does say in there like, oh my goodness, this was going on. And then it says today was her first good day. And I'd said to my friend Brian, and I said, I had this great night with my friends, and I came home and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I saw a glimpse of myself again. And it made me think maybe I can get myself back. Maybe I'm on the road to actually being okay. And so that's what that song is about. And of course, I've come a million miles from that. Thank goodness. But anyway, it's a journey. So that's what the album is called. That's a really beautiful song that will come out eventually at some point too. And Roadblocks just felt like the right song to, like I said, kind of, hey, I've had some stuff. So now I'm coming back, but now you can understand why. And I know that other people have had that too. So my friends, Oscar and Jennifer, who wrote this with me, we weren't all going through like some drastic period in our life when we wrote it. We just loved the title. And I just remember going, I get this. I can sink my teeth into this. I know what this is. let's do this, so because you're always tossing ideas around and you're trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to write today? What are we going to do? And this was a thing that was led by the title. And so, being a songwriter, you get all the like fun, you can do whatever you want. And we use our creativeness to use all the Roadblocks language, all the driving language, and do all that kind of stuff, but really relate it to actually a much deeper meaning into the song. And
does the dog have to come in?
She's barking at something outside. Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But it's not bad. I don't care. Skip happens. It's not a problem.
Oh, we've had all sorts of things happen in this show, so it's all natural.
She usually lets me know when something's going on, so I hope nothing's going on. But,
well, if you want to take a peek, I mean, go ahead. God forbid anything happens.
Hang on 1 second.
We're hanging. Man.
Oh my God.
Man, I'll tell you, those things are going.
Life goes on. We all must tend to things. Yeah, I've had my phone ringing.
Skip happens.
What'd she say?
Life happens and skip happens.
That's why we love this name.
Yeah, and you will never forget it.
That's
right. No, I love that name.
We're going to see each other at CRS or whatever's going on. You're going to go, Skip happens. And
I am. I love it. I think it's a great name of a show. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So, you know, not to interrupt you about the music, but what kind of dog do you have?
I have a lab German Shepherd.
Oh, wow. So it's a pretty big dog.
She's a big dog, and she's
lab.
extremely protective and fierce. So you don't want to mess with her. Okay. And I'm very, very thankful for her. So
yes. Now, are the kids all grown up and out of the house?
They are not. So
they're locked in their room so they don't bother you.
That's right. They know when mom has to work.
I got it.
But
okay.
Yeah. So as far as Roadblocks goes, we had a lot of fun using all the kind of like driving language to talk about roadblocks, but always having that underlying meaning of like mental, physical, emotional roadblocks that people have themselves. Mm-hmm. It's not really just about, the physical sense of roadblocks, but doing that. And I just remember I had my guitar in my hand. And I just started singing the part. I got my eye on the prize, unlimited skies. That was something that immediately started happening for me, which kind of gave us that direction. Yeah. It's like, you know what? I can still see where I'm supposed to go. Mm-hmm. And whatever that is for anybody. And that's what kind of led us down the road we ended up taking with it.
So how often do you get to write?
Well, I'm always still writing. Like that never goes away.
But let me say, how often do you get together with others to sit down and do a write? You're right. You're probably, even when you're watching television, you're thinking about things. Or if you're watching The Masked Singer, you're not only thinking about what you would be in a costume, but you're thinking about what about music. So
I'm always jotting things down. Yep. I'm always recording little pieces because I never know when I'm going to get to actually sit down and flush them out. But I still book appointments. Right now, I'm kind of in this season of trying to work on my music and do some other things. So I have to be very selective because I don't have a lot of time. But normally I would like to write 2 to 3 times a week, like scheduled appointments. I used to do 5 days a week, sometimes twice a day. Like that's when I was in crazy land. But and I love that, but that's when that was all that I was doing. And but I always try to keep my pencil sharp just because it's one of my greatest loves. And you still, one of the best pieces of advice I did kind of get about all of this is about keeping your pencil sharp, and that if you don't keep it sharp, you're not ready for when the great ideas come along.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
so true. You just keep exercising the muscle. I mean, it is a craft. It is something you do. I mean, I believe I was born with it. I've done it from a very young age, but you can develop it. You can be committed and disciplined. You can become better at what you do. And, when you have other co-writers, that accountability makes you do it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I was just part of this songwriting group not that long ago. I probably haven't been in it for about 6 months now, but a friend of mine does this thing, and there's probably other ones like this, but if you get accepted into it, if somebody falls out, it's every week you have to write a song by yourself, and you have to turn it in by a certain time at night. I think it was a Tuesday night at midnight, and you had to do a little work tape or a demo, whatever you could get done. And there was a prompt every week. So it might be a word, it might be a phrase, and everybody writes towards that. Now, if you forgot the prompt or lost it or something, you could write something else. But
Okay.
I always chose to write the prompt because it was such an exercise for me to go, okay, well, let's put the writer, I have to do this all by myself. I want to write totally to that title. And you know what I learned about all of that? There's a lot of things I learned, but it was a good exercise. I did it for about 3 months before I fell out. Because if you miss, you get one more shot. And if you miss the second time, if you don't get it in by midnight that night, then you're out. So that accountability to yourself in that time.
Yeah.
I got some killer things done during that. But one thing I learned that was amazing, there was about 10 in this group. It might have been 9 or something. Not one of us wrote the idea the same.
Really?
Wow.
That's
creativity at its best.
That reminded me that God has given us, however you believe, our own snowflake of creativity.
Yeah. 100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it kind of energized me. You know what I mean? I'm like, nobody says things exactly the way I say them. No one says them exactly the way Taylor Swift says them, or the way Chris Stapleton says them, or, whatever. It's like,
that's what,
especially if you're a writer. But it was just a beautiful thing just for that reawakening of that, I think.
Yeah. What is it like to be an artist in the digital age? With everything that's going on, we're on our phones, we're doing everything. Everything's digital now. We got AI. What's it like to be an artist during this time?
That's a great question. I came up at a time that it was not like this. In fact, when my first album came out was right when Napster hit, and I just had a ton of fans bringing CDs to my show with demos on them that I don't know how they got them. Or even before the record came out, they had somehow gotten a hold of it. So I was signing things. I took it as like, hey, they're fans. That's okay for me. But it was changing the whole thing. Now we're in this age that you're talking about where so much of it is all this social media and stuff. So I was very reluctant in the first place to get on social media because I am actually kind of a private person. And it's not that I'm private. I like to share things about life, but I also like to not share everything, and it feels like you have to or something.
Right. No, I get it. Same here.
So it's a different time. There's a lot of interesting things about it that I think are really cool. And then there's some that I'm just like, I don't know, like this is too much, it feels like it's a lot in order to compete, or at least what I'm told you're supposed to do to compete. And I don't even like that word compete, because I feel like, you can always find your own lane if you're being true to yourself. But I know how easy it is for me to flip through stuff. How are you going to catch my attention?
Right.
So
that's hard.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because you really only grab people for about 15 seconds. And what can you do in 15 seconds, like you said, that's going to keep them there? It's very challenging. Very challenging, that whole world.
It is.
So, and we're forced into it. We have to work with it.
And I feel like, people talk about all this ADHD stuff and that, and I know it's a real thing. And I'm like going, I might have that. Because
I think we've all said that.
Anymore.
Not about you, but about me, or about that. It's like, I might have that.
Yeah. Like I don't mean that in a flippant way for anybody who's watching that, I'm not saying it's just what I sometimes wonder, like, about my attention span, but have we like all morphed into that? I don't know.
I think we all have to a degree, because for 15 seconds, I'll start doing something, say in the kitchen. All of a sudden my mind wanders, and don't ask me how, but I'm in the basement doing something else. I totally forgot what I was doing in the kitchen. It just happens.
It's
So,
true. I think we can condition our brains. I mean, we can probably condition it the other way too. So, but
exactly.
you know, when it's so easily accessed at our fingertips all the time,
Yeah.
it's actually excruciatingly frightening to me just how
Right.
much time is actually spent on electronics. So
Yeah. No, I know. I hear you. But here I am on electronics.
Yeah.
that's how we do it. It's how we do it. We're all doing it.
And it all changed. And I don't want to talk about the pandemic, but it all changed during the pandemic where we started doing things differently, even more so. I mean, we wouldn't be talking to you right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we used to always have the artists come into what I call the pod zone, and we would do the interviews here. And this is a basement in my home, but still this is where we would do them. But now that the pandemic forced us to do things differently, and it's a plus. But it's all
it worked out to be great.
It is a
for
plus.
us. Yeah.
It is a plus.
Yep.
It is a plus. How do you, I am, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I do see you quite often on Facebook, and you're talking to your fans and you're playing a couple of songs. So, and I think I'm seeing more and more of that. So you are becoming a little more relaxed doing it, maybe, but I think you need to do that, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, whatever, because you got to get yourself back out there and look. I mean, that's where they're discovering a lot of new artists, and they're hearing this. I mean, we got our Bailey Zimmermans and our Zach Bryans and oh my gosh, Warren Zeiders, and that's the hat. I can go on and on. It's just it's kind of, that's where the big stars are. The current, I shouldn't say really big because they're not big yet, and I'll come right out and say that, but the current stars are being noticed on social media. But you're doing it. You're doing it.
I agree. I mean, I see that that's happening, and I understand. I do like playing live for people. That is something that I've always really kind of loved. Skip, you've probably seen, you saw me years ago. I mean, I really do love singing for people.
Yes.
I wish the sound quality was better all the time, but I think people are okay. You can do different things. I think I want to try and make it a little bit better all the time, but at the same point, I don't want it to be something perfect, because I want to just be like the most real version of myself when I'm doing it at the same time. So I don't mind playing. I used to do a thing actually called Music Monday. I know a lot of other people have done it. And then my mom got sick in 2017, and I was her caretaker, and I took care of her for a long time, and it kind of slipped away.
Right.
I just wasn't able to really do it anymore. I tried to do it a few times when I was taking care of her, but
I know
I would do a thing every Monday, and then I lost that, and I haven't quite gotten a consistent thing back again, and I'm trying.
Yeah.
You might have a different thing. That's all.
I have a different thing.
You might have.
I know I tried to get you on the podcast one other time, and there were some issues going on at home. I don't know if it was your mom. I really don't know. You lost your mom, right? Not too long ago?
I did.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was your mom or dad, but I remember I got a message.
I did lose my dad too.
Sorry.
God bless you. I'm so sorry. But I remember we were talking, and you had messaged me and said it's going to have to wait because there's too much going on. But you know what? Look what you did. You pulled through, and they're watching you, and you're smiling.
The roadblock.
Yeah, you made it to the roadblock. A lot of those roadblocks.
Question.
Yes.
Go ahead. Well, is your new music coming out independently, or are you with a label?
It's independently.
Wonderful. We hear more and more of that, right, Skip? I mean, it's just it's your own business, and you're out. What's great about you and your
chief executive officer right there.
But so many. What's great is because you've been in the business, stepped away for a little while, you're back, whatever, did things in between, but you have so many contacts. So I don't know, is that easier for you being in that position going independently, or do you think it's still more of a challenge where somebody that hasn't had your experience?
Well, those are all kind of great questions. My experience does allow me to, go to different contacts, get some advice. I have hired a few people to help me. So it's like my own little mini label.
Yeah.
So we're doing some things on our own, which a lot of people are doing some of that kind of stuff. I think the biggest challenge always is going to be, how do we let as many people know as possible that we have, that I have new music, and that um and get them interested in it. So when you're with a big label, that's an amazing thing, because they have such a wide reach and they know how to get it to the masses. So and then, you know, there's a lot of different ways all of those people have to get paid. So it's a different kind of a structure for the artist, you know? So then when you're doing it independently, you still have to work with people to help you. There's no real way you can do it on your own. Mind you, there's artists out there who are, you know, flying and they're being discovered and they're doing things on their own, but then they got to start getting some people to help them, because it's just too much.
It's too much. Yeah.
But because there's so many aspects, as you guys know, right? If you want to tour, you need different people to help you with that. And there's all the social media stuff and radio and so many things, actually.
So,
lawyers, stylists.
I know.
So organizing all of this stuff, right?
So when you're in it this deep as an independent artist and you're building your team, does it make sense for you to just start your own label, or just stay as yourself and you're just basically grabbing help when you need it? I don't know. See, I'm always asking these business questions. Skip knows,
you can tell who the business person is and who the goof is. I'm just.
I wish I had, you know, great answers for you as to what the best thing is. I think if you could be, I think just finding your right people that actually believe in you. You can move some mountains with some of that stuff. You know, if you have I don't have a manager right now, but if I had a manager that was, I haven't had one for a while and haven't really needed one, but that's something that may have to come on as things get a little busier, if they do, when they do.
Come on, baby, it's coming. Happening.
But you know, there's so many aspects to it that starting your own label is essentially what you do when you're hiring different people to do stuff with you. Would I sign someone else to it? Like, honestly, I would actually love to do that. I feel like I would love to also work with other artists. I mentor a lot over the years, and have the ability to help them with their careers. I'm not able to do that right now, but if there was ever a chance, or maybe I'd work for someone else doing that. But I really love watching people grow in this business as well. I just can't do it all right now, especially not on my own.
Right. And you know what? That takes a special heart too, to want to be able to help others and help them enhance their career, especially when you're trying to work on your own as well. That is a lot. That's a huge undertaking, I think.
It is.
Absolutely.
So, but it, you know, just the people that work with artists and artist development, you've got to have that caring heart to want to see them succeed. So, big heart.
Are you going to be bouncing around the CMAs when they come around next week?
Well, I'm going to go to, I've got some kind of businessy things that I've got to do. I am going to be at the ASCAP Awards. I'm not going to be at the CMA Awards. And I'll be at, I know
it gets crazy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of events that I'm invited to that I'm going to have to go to, which will be great because I can't wait to see a bunch of faces that I haven't seen in a while. So I'll be running around the CMAs for sure, but I will not actually be at the show.
Gotcha. So did the kids go out trick-or-treating? I just made a turn, by the way. So the music's over here now. And I told you earlier, I make a turn every once in a while. So they went out trick-or-treating. Did you walk with them?
I walked with my daughter because my son was with a bunch of his friends, and they went and had like a little party, and they did their thing. We ended up actually crossing with them and seeing them anyway. So yeah, I did. And my daughter went with some friends, and I was with that pack. So they went and did all of that stuff.
Did you steal any of their candy?
Yes.
I know. And let me get with the Reese's. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
All right. My favorite is actually Milk Duds.
Oh.
They're caramels.
No, I like them. I
But
do
they're
like them.
They're hard to chew.
They
No,
are hard to chew.
they are.
I agree, but I'm a
They are
caramel
good.
girl.
You like
Yeah.
candy corn?
No.
It's too
I'm
much
not a
sugar.
candy corn.
All right.
Yeah.
What about
Too much.
Reese's peanut butter cups? Because you
I
don't know
do
the
love
radio-
those too.
Yeah, but you can eat too many of those too easy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they just pop one in quick, fast.
Yep.
So good.
So did I would assume you just stayed in the neighborhood. So they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
where
it's
I
Carolyn
live,
and the
we
kids.
can't trick or treat around where I live because
Yeah.
it's just not conducive to that. But so
Throw 'em in
we
the
go
truck
into
and-
another area.
Ah, you're one of those. I get you.
Yep.
I
Well,
get-
a bunch of it's the neighborhood close.
I know.
And
I
so
know.
we kind of do all that thing, but it's a good area that's known for having kids around, and it's all good.
Carolyn, one final question, or maybe I don't know, I might have a couple. They seem to pop up. What do you do when you're not doing music? What do you do to break away from this? If you break away from it at all?
Yeah, I know. That's a great question. Well, I will say that kids help you break away from it.
Yeah. being the
And
mom and all
so
that.
I do love being a mom, and my kids are involved in different things. So I do stuff with them, but walks are really a great place for me to just like kind of ground and go with my dog. And I love nature. So walking is a big thing, hanging with some friends. I've got some great girlfriends. So if I can squeeze in time with them, that is always like a mood boost for sure. And
Mhm.
also quiet time, just me like doing some reading. And
Yeah.
I have a sauna that I love that
Yeah.
some things like that.
Yeah, just kind of hang out and chill. I get it.
Yep.
And you get right back into it again. So it never ends. Tonight on Skip Happens, we've had Carolyn Dawn Johnson. I'm just all giddy over this whole podcast here tonight. I've been a big fan for a lot of years.
Thank you,
doing
Skip.
radio for a lot of years. As I showed you the picture in the beginning, that's when I had
love
to
it.
see her. My wife, Zach, and I, and hitting up the Turning Stone here in Central New York to see you. Do you have any plans to get out of that, like get on tour again soon, hit up any other cities? As Martina said, hey, Carolyn, look, I'm heading out next weekend. Do you want to come to Boston with me or whatever?
There are some Martina things coming up,
Okay.
and I really, really am, we're pushing to try and get some stuff where I can get out there and do some more. I really want to get out there and play. I feel like a lot of people have been asking. It's been quite a while that I've gone out there.
We need a Carolyn Dawn Johnson fix. I'm telling you.
I love it.
There are a ton of fans out there, and we've had big numbers here on the podcast tonight.
Yeah.
I've been watching the numbers. People that are loving you. It's like, oh my God, it's Carolyn Dawn Johnson. I mean, you have already got the name for yourself. You're a great talent, a great songwriter.
Thank you.
It's the whole package. Now
I need to come up there.
you took the words right out of my mouth. I said, my next thing is to get you into the Northeast. So I want to say, real quick before we let you go here tonight, I believe we did a guitar pull with you. And
it sounds familiar.
Well, I was on another station in this market in Syracuse, and we used to do guitar pulls quite often. And I want to say that we had you at one of our guitar pulls. I got to go through my photo albums. I probably got another picture here. I know we must have done that. But,
you know who would probably know?
Because
he has a memory like that's super like bionic is David Friedman, because he would have probably taken me up there.
Yes. I used to call him Freihoffer. Yes, I did. That was because David and I are really, and Amy, his wife, were all pretty close. And David was one of my reps back then. And yes. And David was, matter of fact, he used to come to Syracuse quite often. And one day he actually rode with me to the school to pick up my son. And it was just, we spent the afternoon just kind of talking and hanging out and stuff. But yes. Oh my God. I can't believe you mentioned that name. That's right.
Wow.
And then, it all makes sense because being the label rep and Carolyn Dawn Johnson, David, look where he is now. Just a great guy though.
I know. I'm going to ask him because that sounds familiar to me because I know that we did some things up there.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
maybe I can find a way to get back up there and do
Yep.
that again. That would
Somebody
be
says
amazing.
they want to get you in Connecticut. I said, okay, all right. Yeah, Wendy and James. It's hard to read some of the little print here, but yeah.
I'm going to have to go look at all that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I hope you had a good time on Skip Happens tonight.
I had a
We're very
great
laid
time.
back, and
Yes.
it's your usual, your podcast. We just talk, and we're friends again. I mean, you were doing your thing, and I was doing my thing, but this actually just brought us closer together. And by the way, do you have a road right behind that window? Because I keep seeing.
Yes, there would be some cars driving by. Is that true?
Yeah. I'm going, what are those lights? Oh, there's another light. Either that or somebody's walking by. It's like, I better warn her. No.
No, that big gold dog will protect her. Are you kidding?
Yeah, she would sense it. She would sense it.
There's nobody back there.
So, Carolyn, if somebody wants to get a hold of the new music Roadblocks and the music that's coming out pretty soon, how can they do that?
Probably stay tuned to my website, cdj.com. We're going to have everything on there all the time. So any new, we'll put you guys up there and any new news of any sort. And then my socials, most of them are CDJ in the house. So that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I think is just Carolyn Dawn Johnson, then _ Instagram, CDJ in the house, but cdj.com will take you all to all those places.
You have X, which used to be Twitter.
I do. And I'm not very active on there, but I am on there.
I just like saying X. That's all.
I know. I was like, what is he talking about? Oh, yeah.
No, I know. I get it. Carolyn, thank you again for joining us here on Skip Happens tonight. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you give us on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page. And we try to interview the stars just like we did tonight with Carolyn. We go every week, sometimes 2 to 3 in a week. So it's a lot of fun. My name's Skip Clark. It's Deb Lanfear. Deb, you want to give out your digits real quick?
Oh, yeah. So if you get a chance, tune in. You'll get to see this re-recording on the Official Country Music Fan Club Facebook page. Carolyn, if you get a chance, follow us. We'll follow you back. So when that new music comes out, we can send it out to that fan base as well and keep up to speed with what you have going on. We are on Facebook and Instagram.
She doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to send her an invitation to come to our guitar pull in December. So.
Okay.
Carolyn, you're awesome. We'll be talking. Stay right there. And thank you for watching, everybody. Skip Happens. And it does. Okay. It did. It's all good. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you back. Awesome.
Right there.
Bye,